I've had three very different home births. The first one was intuitive, the second one was painful, and the third one was very empowering. By the time I got to my third birth, I knew that I needed more than just intuition. I needed like actual mental and physical tools in my tool belt. So today I'm sharing the specific verbal cues, the things I actually said and had other people say to me, and the specific mental shifts that I practiced to stay calm and help my labor progress. So let's talk about it. Let's talk mostly about birth number two, because birth number one was so intuitive and like felt very natural in that way. I just really followed my body, listened to my body. It was intense, but it wasn't painful. And I thought, oh, the second birth is going to be easier than the first. And it was shorter, but it wasn't that much shorter. And it definitely wasn't easier. And I think that what happened in that birth is that I got caught in that, like the tension trap, that cycle of fear, tension, pain, that I started to feel pain. And so I got more fearful, like, oh my gosh, how long is this labor going to go on? Like, what if, and I wanted my son to be there. So I was like, what if we don't wake him up in time? He's going to miss it. I had like a lot of like really deep seated, but subtle anxiety about the whole thing. And I think that made my body tense up a little bit more and then made the pain even worse. So I was really resisting the pain instead of leaning into it. And remember, when you resist your contractions instead of surrendering to them, your pelvic floor clenches, your whole body clenches up to try and protect you, but it actually makes everything harder. So I was definitely caught in that cycle of everything just compounding and getting more and more difficult and more unenjoyable. In my third birth, I knew, and I did this some in my second birth, but I feel like my heart wasn't fully in it or something. In my third birth, I was all about the low tones. If you've ever seen any clips of my births, because I share them on Instagram, you'll hear me going, like really low tones. In my first birth, I remember when it was time to push, I made some sort of sound like that type of thing. And my midwife said, let's take that energy from up here and bring it down there. And, she reminded me like that sound that you're making is tensing everything up and using a lot of energy up here. Instead, think of the energy down there and think of relaxing everything. And is a lot more of a relaxed sound than, and it's the whole jaw pelvic floor connection, throat, pelvic floor, all of that. So I knew by my third birth how important that was. So the entire time I was moaning throughout that entire birth and fluttering my lips, doing everything to just loosen up my jaw and my pelvic floor. I also had a lot of, I was pretty verbal in my third birth in terms of like repeating a mantra. In my other births, I feel like I had them in my mind, but this time I was like, it's interesting. I thought I wanted a completely silent environment, but I learned from my first two births that that's not what I wanted, that I actually wanted encouragement from myself and from my birth team. And so the mantra that I kept saying, and I didn't even plan this, was down and out, down and out. And it even just like saying that, like if you say it like that with me, down and out, you can feel things just kind of dropping and lowering and loosening, because that's what we want in labor. And I was really like envisioning and like imploring my baby, like, calm down and get out, but lovingly, of course, down and out. And I told my birth team ahead of time that I wanted them to cheer me on. I wanted them to just encourage me and say like, hey, you're doing it. You're doing a good job, relaxing into that contraction. Because my second birth was so discouraging and I didn't realize how much I actually wanted verbal support from the people around me. So when I was pushing in my third, I said, I'm doing it. And like, it was, you can only like say so much when you're in the middle of a contraction. But me saying that while I was pushing and while I was in the middle of it was me trying to communicate to my birth team, tell me, remind me, I'm doing this. I'm doing a good job, So I said, I'm doing it. And then I have a video of them all being like, yeah, you're doing it. Good job. Good job. And it helped so much. It helped so much. And it's things I wish I had done in my second birth, but you live and you learn. So use your voice, use your mind, find your ways to relax throughout your labor. And that that, of course, is gold. It's also only half the battle because you can make that job of relaxing so much easier or harder depending on what position your body is in. Your physical position does matter a lot. So I recorded a whole video just about birth positions. Go watch that one next.